hopefully you'll find the tips and suggestions that I propose here today useful to you as you navigate some of those other hiring fairs that are happening out in the community. Of course, this is all leading up to next week's two-day career fair, Career Day 2026. It's happening in Richmond, where I am today, actually, on Tuesday. March 10th, in the Richmond atrium, and then on Wednesday, March 11th, and that's it on the Spruce campus on the Surrey campus in the Spruce building. So 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. for both of those days. If you have questions, please do just go ahead and drop them in the chat. And if you can preface them with a capital Q, I'll get to those questions at the end of today's webinar. We will finish just before 1 o'clock. So yeah, you'll have more than enough time to get to your afternoon class. Also, at the end of today's webinar, I have a QR code. It would really help us out if you could take an additional 30 seconds at the end of the webinar today to fill in the survey. I find your feedback extremely valuable. I just want to make sure that you find this information to be relevant for you. So please do provide us with your feedback. That would be really, really appreciated. And I'll talk a little bit about the prizes that we have. So for everybody who joins any of our webinars, if you stay until the end, your name will be put into a draw to potentially win a $20 Tim Hortons gift card. All the draw for the webinars and Career Day itself, because we do have prizes for Career Day, but all the draw will be on Monday, March 30th. So anyways, before we kick things off, I'd like to do a territorial acknowledgement. We at Kwantlen Polytechnic University respectfully acknowledge that we live, work, and study in a region that overlaps with the unceded traditional and ancestral First Nations territories of the Musqueam, Katzie, Semiahmoo, Tsawwassen, Kikite, and Coquitlam, and with the lands of the Kwantlen First Nation, which gifted its name to this university. In the cause of reconciliation, we recognize our commitment to address and reduce ongoing systemic colonialism, oppression, and racism that Indigenous peoples continue to experience. A little refresher of our services at the Career Development Center. Remember, you pay for these services, right? So all those expensive fees that you pay, it helps us operate the Career Development Center. So these services are here for you, and they are made up of career services, volunteer services, cooperative education, and employer relations. So feel free to scan the QR code to visit us on our main website and learn all about our services and how we can help you out with your job search or career plan. Also, please do follow us on social media. We're on Blue Sky. If you've never heard of Blue Sky, it's relatively newish. Maybe sign up and follow us there. And of course, all the other platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, for those of you just joining on the call today, if you have any questions, please do go ahead and drop them in the chat. Preface them with a capital Q, just so that I know that that is a question. Of course, alternatively, when we get to the end of the webinar, if you have a question, you can also just unmute yourself and ask the question that way, whatever works for you. So today's webinar is part of a series to help prepare students and alumni to attend Career Day 2026. Yesterday, we did the resume and cover letter webinar. Today, we're doing the Navigating Career Day 2026 webinar. And then on Thursday this week, we're going to wrap things up with the interview skills webinar. And again, same place, same time, online, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I have a question for you. I'm curious how many people on the call today have ever attended an in-person job fair. Feel free to just drop your answer in the chat there. Have you a yes or a no? Have you ever attended an in-person job fair? Introduce the lovely Tatiani. Tatiani is on the call today. She's helping me with the back end things. And Tatiani is our wonderful career services officer within a career development center. So Tatiani is helping me on the call today. And yeah, so my question to you is, have you ever been to an in-person job fair?
We have like 50% Chantal, yes and no. It's very balanced here.
Okay. All right, great. Well, I do think that even for those of you that have attended an in-person job fair in the past, I do think that you'll find the information that I'm presenting here today particularly valuable, in addition to those that have never been to a fair. Okay, so basically I'm compressing 7 tips into 3 key categories. So before the big day, during the event, and after the event. So before the big day, being aware and preparing for the event itself. Volunteerism. I threw in a little bit about volunteerism because we often do see a lot of nonprofit organizations attend hiring fairs looking maybe to hire, but also to recruit volunteers. So I thought, you know what, it's kind of important for me to chat a little bit about volunteerism. And then developing a quick intro pitch that you can use when you approach employers at their table. During the event, engaging with knowledge. So really understanding who it is you're actually talking to and what their needs might be, making sure that you leave on a high note. So this is a really great way to stand out. Career day hiring fairs can be pretty busy. Like there's a lot of people that go. It can be a little overwhelming. So it might be a little bit challenging to stand out. So I am going to talk about ways. Really, this whole webinar is all about how can you stand out. When you go to a hiring fair. If you've ever been to a coaching appointment with me, I do talk about, as a job seeker, you're competing with other job seekers. So what are ways that you can stand out as a job seeker? Number one is, going and doing what other job seekers are not doing. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then afterwards, so applying, stay connected and so forth. And then we're going to wrap up. Like I mentioned, I have a QR code. Hopefully you can stick around for, I'm going to say something and take it 30 seconds to complete the survey. And then we'll open it up to Q&A at the end. So again, just drop your questions in the chat there. I got another question for you. Why are you attending Career Day? So this one might take you a little bit long because you might need to kind of type out a little bit more, but is it to find an immediate job or a volunteer opportunity? Is it to network? Is it to practice talking to employers? Or perhaps there's another reason. So what is your number one reason for attending Career Day? Because it might be kind of all of the above, but what's your number one reason that you're attending Career Day? Is it to find an immediate job or volunteer opportunity? Even start your career? Is it to network? Is it to practice talking to employers? Or maybe there's some other reason that you're attending Career Day. So I'll give you a few seconds to type your response there, and Tatiani will help me out.
Networking, volunteer opportunities networked, practice talking with employers, practice network, exploring opportunities, volunteer, find immediate job in volunteer opportunities, find immediate job as well in today's two. Type in just a few more seconds.
Yeah.
Job opportunities and job.
Okay, well, that all kind of makes a lot of sense. You are going to a career fair. Yeah, that's really good. I'm really happy to hear the volunteerism piece. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but okay, great to hear. Thanks everyone for sharing. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So before the big day, you'll notice here I have another QR code. There's about 3 QR codes in this presentation. So this one here is going to take you to Career Connection, where you can look at the employer list. This is crucial that you do this ahead of time. Okay, so before the big day, be aware and prepare. Number one, understand yourself. First and foremost, you need to understand a little bit more about your own intention for attending these fairs. And I want you to do that for anything, whether it's applying for a job, going to networking events. Make sure that you understand your why, right? So what do you need? What do you want in your next role, whether it's volunteer or paid, right? What is it that you need? What is it that you want? Or even for networking. When it comes to your job, things like you're looking for something that has a flexible schedule. Maybe you're looking for something that's close by. What skills would you like to use or gain, right? So kind of go through those, a list of questions for yourself so that you can really attend the event with intention. What is your intention there, right? Number 2, so this is where the QR code comes in. Identify the companies that are attending and the roles that they're hiring for. So go on the company website, go to the careers page, see what they are hiring for. If they don't have anything listed on the careers page, but they're coming, well, that tells me there might be something brewing there, right? There might be something coming up with them. They're anticipating hiring. So understand who the company is, what they do, what kind of roles they might be hiring for. Hop over to LinkedIn, you could do a little search there, identify people that currently work for that company, follow them on LinkedIn if they kind of pique your interest, right? And then prepare a targeted resume. So I do get the question, well, should I come to the career fair with like resumes printed up? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If the employer prefers not to accept a hard copy resume, they'll let you know, oh, we're not really doing that. You can just go directly online. But if they are doing that, a lot of students and alumni won't necessarily go with a hard copy resume. And that does give the opportunity to the employer to receive that and maybe even make some notes on that resume. So, you might identify 5. I mean, if I'm just looking at Surrey itself, right now we have, we're expected to have about 35 employers and nonprofit organizations. And so, of the 35, you might identify, we have about 38 actually, you might identify 5 that really stand out to you. So you're going to take some time and effort. You're going to use the tips from yesterday's resume and cover letter webinar, and you're going to put together a strong application and, maybe decide to print off a hard copy. If you don't end up doing it and you go to the fair, it's not a big deal, right? You could even ask them, are you accepting resumes here? And if they say yes, and you don't happen to have one, well, you got time maybe to go print it off and then come back and submit it. So identify the companies that are attending and the roles that they're hiring for. I purposely stayed on this slide a little bit longer because I'm hoping that you're going to scan that QR code and take a look at the employers and nonprofit organizations that are going. Okay, so I really think it's crucial to talk about the importance of volunteerism. And the reason why I put this in here is because we have received feedback in the past from students saying, well, there's, some nonprofits and they weren't even hiring. This is Career Day. So Career Day is, for future planning. It could be for immediate, but it could also be for long-term, and part of a strong career plan. Volunteering can fit into that quite well. So I'm going to kind of break it down into 3 key categories of volunteerism and why it's particularly important, an important piece or important strategy as part of your career plan. Number 1, volunteering and your career goals. So, volunteering helps you to, of course, gain that hands-on experience, which, of course, looks fabulous on a resume, but it also helps with your own confidence. I'm going to talk about that with in a future slide. Developing those transferable skills like communication, teamwork, and leadership. So not just developing the skills, but giving you actual examples. And we'll learn about how important that is, which I suspect you already know, but we'll learn about how important that is on Thursday when we do the interview skills webinar. It's all about planning your actions now so that you have really strong stories come the interview. So developing those transferable skills like communication, teamwork, and leadership, but also being able to talk about them and provide examples of how you developed and use those in a professional environment. Volunteering can also help you to kind of gain career clarity. It might help you to actually get a little taste of different types of jobs, different types of environments, different organizations to help you gain clarity. And you might be super surprised to realize, this often happens, that something you didn't think you would particularly enjoy or get much out of, it has a bigger impact on you than you thought. So you never know. Of course, volunteerism can help increase your professional network and connect with potentially mentors, professional mentors. And then, of course, it can certainly help you to stand out to employers by demonstrating that kind of initiative and commitment. Now, I want to pause here for a second because I want to also acknowledge that volunteerism is hard because it's unpaid, right? And so not everyone has the luxury of being able to insert some free work into their schedule. But I do implore you to take a look at your schedule realistically and ask yourself, how much time do you genuinely have to put towards volunteerism? It might just be 3 to 5 hours a month. Some of you might look at your schedule and say, you know what? I do feel like I have a lot of wasted time dedicated on social media or whatever it might be. I really do think realistically I could dedicate 2 or 3 hours a week. So I want to acknowledge that volunteerism can be a little bit of a privilege. But that being said, I implore you to have a look at your schedule and be realistic about where you spend your time, and if that time is spent in a qualitative practice. Okay. Volunteering and your education goals. So, of course, it'll allow you to gain that real world experience that might enhance your studies, your time at KPU. It depending on what your goal is after KPU, if you're going to graduate school or maybe law school or medical school, whatever, chances are they're going to want to see some volunteerism on that application. We already spoke about those interpersonal skills, but improve communication, problem solving, and leadership skills, and have examples of those as well. So it's really just not enough. And I mentioned this yesterday at the resume webinar. It's just not enough to kind of list, oh, I have these skills, communication, leadership. It's not enough. What they're looking for, what that recruiter is looking for, is for you to be able to demonstrate it on your resume that you have those skills. And then perhaps, there's awards or scholarships that you might be considering. Volunteerism will really help pump those points up when it comes to being considered for scholarships and maybe some awards. Finally, volunteering and your own personal growth. So boosting confidence and self-esteem. I mentioned that on the first slide. When you start to kind of put yourself out there and experience different environments and expand your network and learn new skills, you can't help but have your confidence and your self-esteem increase. Developing cultural awareness by working with diverse communities as well. Incredibly important component to volunteerism. Finding that sense of purpose and fulfillment through meaningful work. Now, listen, it doesn't even have to necessarily connect to what you're studying at KPU. It might help you enhance your, your training at KPU, but it might be something that is completely standalone and fulfills you in a different way, different from your career goals. And that's also important, which kind of finish things off with the final point: improve mental health by reducing stress and increasing that social connections, those social connections. So a few things to consider when it comes to the importance of volunteerism and that open-mindedness. And I'm happy to hear a few of you on the call today are going to Career Day to explore some volunteer opportunities. I'm really happy about that. All right, so again, any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, preface it with a capital Q, and I will get to those at the end of today's webinar. And of course, at the end of the webinar, if you prefer, you can always just take your mic off mute and ask that question that way. Next up, when you are approaching the table, you want to have something to say, right? So we might want to talk about ways that you can prepare and practice your introduction pitch. Your introduction pitch. Now, this might be something like an elevator pitch. You might have heard that term before, and that comes from, say you walk into an elevator and the person that is, there that can make a hiring decision or maybe connect you with the right people, they're in the elevator with you. You have 30 seconds by the time you have to get off that elevator. What are you going to say to that person? That's where the concept of the elevator pitch comes in. Now, this pitch, I recommend you shorten it a little bit. So typically, that elevator pitch, and it can be really customized depending on your situation. So you might have a bit of a pitch that you develop for situations like a career fair. You might have one that's a little bit longer in response to the tell me about yourself question that you get in an interview. You might have one, a variation for networking events. So you're going to kind of more or less have this general pitch that you customize, just like your resume, that you customize depending on the situation that you're in. So for a career fair, it's pretty busy. It's kind of loud. So I actually recommend that you reduce the time that it takes you to deliver your pitch from about 30 seconds down to about 15 seconds. And you want to make sure that it includes 4 key components. So of course, your greeting and your name, the position that you're applying for or interested in, the type of role that you're interested in, a brief summary of the relevant skills that you have in relation to that role, and finish it off with a bit of an action item, like a question that you ask them. And this helps to engage the conversation. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Hi there, I'm Chantal. It's great to meet you. I understand that Prospera Credit Union is looking to hire a new member experience specialist. As a soon-to-be accounting diploma graduate with plenty of customer service and sales experience, I think this sounds like a great fit. What's the best way to get more information and apply? So Prospera is in fact coming to the hiring fair, but you can see it's really brief. It tells the listener everything they need to know about you, and you open it up. You finish it off rather with a question, like a call to action, and then this then turns into a conversation. But what you're saying here is, I know who you are. I know what you do. Here's how I fit. What are the next steps? Right? So you've used that QR code that I included a little bit early on. You've identified who's going to be at this hiring fair ahead of time, and you prepared. So good for you. Things that I might recommend you avoid doing is walking up to a table and saying, so, maybe reading their tablecloth or their brand. Oh, what does your company do? Or what kind of jobs do you have? Or do you have anything for accounting or HR or sociology students? When we're at the fair, I often will walk around and I'll kind of just pay attention. I might eavesdrop a little bit, but I'll pay attention to the conversations that some students are having, students and alumni are having with these employers that are attending. And I do often hear this. What I often am hearing are the employers explaining who they are, what they do, and what they might be looking for. Can you imagine from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m., an employer standing behind a table repeating the same information over and over? That's what happens when we ask that question. Those questions, right? What does your company do? What kind of jobs do you have? Do you have anything for, public relations graduates? Help them out. Help them out. Remember, if you have an HR person at the table, HR typically, so human resources, they are kind of the gatekeeper of the company. They represent the company, and they're typically very proud of the company. They're very proud of their initiatives and what they do. So if you were to walk up to that table and say the name of the company out loud and say, oh, I read about this and I read about that. It looks to me like you're hiring about, these types of roles. That's what they want to engage in, right? They don't want to have to keep repeating who they are and what they do. So if we're talking about ways that you can stand out at a hiring fair, as a job seeker, so forth, do what most students will not do. Most students look, I only have 17 on the call today. Fantastic. I'm so happy you're here. Most students chose not to come. I get it. Things are busy, right? But you came. So do what most students and alumni will not do. Research who's going to be there, identify the key companies you want to talk to, and approach them using this method more than this method. All right. I got another question for you. So just feel free to type A, B, C, or D in the chat, right? So you just had a great chat with an employer. What's your next move? You're at the fair, right? What's your next move? A, you're going to add them on LinkedIn, send them a message. B, take a deeper dive into the company. C, send a quick thank you email. Or D, all of the above.
All the above. D, 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 A, C. Lots of D's coming here.
All right, good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, and even if you answered A and C, those are right too, right? Those are right too. So, yeah, I would say all of the above, if I'm being perfectly honest. The order that I might do this in is maybe B and then C and then A. Like if I, right, if I'm going to really break it down. But yeah, if you've had a great chat with an employer and you're even if you're not necessarily interested in working for that company, that's okay. This is a great way to expand your network. A few of you on the call today said, I want to go there to expand my network. So I would start by taking a deeper dive into the company, sending them a quick thank you email, right? So they're there from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. They're there because they want to meet you. They want to meet alumni and students from KPU. And 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. It's a long time. It's a long time to be talking about your company, right? So send them a quick thank you email. Maybe highlight something in particular that you spoke about in your meeting at the career fair. But sending them a thank you email is an incredibly professional gesture. And then add them on LinkedIn and send a message. So I just want to talk very briefly about that. As we know, unless we have premium, we can't send anybody a LinkedIn message. But what we can do is we can add a note to our connection request that we send to them. And the way to do that, I don't have this on the slide, but the way to do that, for those of you that are on LinkedIn, and I hope you all are, and if you're not, I hope you'll consider going on LinkedIn. I think it's a wonderful research tool. But when you're on LinkedIn, and if you click into the My Network tab, and you'll see all the people, LinkedIn thinks you should connect with these people. That probably sounds familiar to you, like, oh, these people also go to KPU, or these people also work at this place that you work at. Don't click on connect that way, because what will happen is LinkedIn just sends them a generic, I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn message. What I would recommend you do is go directly onto their profile, click on connect below their photo, and then you'll receive this message pop up that says add a note. It will allow you 200 characters to add a note. And you don't have to write anything fancy schmancy. It's really just, hi there. Thank you so much. We met, at KPU's Career Day on Wednesday, March 11th. I had a really great conversation with you. As a reminder, I'm this student. If you can do that in 200 characters, I'd really like to connect with you here to expand my network. And that's it. So nothing really fancy. You have 200 characters to do that, but that's how you can send them a little message when you request that connection. Okay, so during the event, let's talk outfit. Number one is be comfortable. Dress in what you're comfortable wearing, but make sure that it's clean, ironed. Whatever it is you choose to wear, make sure that it is clean, no odors, bad or good, perfumes and so forth. Just make sure that everything's kind of clean shoes, but really just make sure that you are wearing something that you genuinely feel good and confident in. Communication. So we spoke a little bit about that brief pitch, that 15-second pitch, but speak clearly and not too quickly, because remember, it's very busy there. And so they might not necessarily be able to hear you very well. So lean in, speak clearly, and not too quickly. Listen intently. Remove the AirPods. So I would strongly recommend, before you even step into the Spruce space, remove the AirPods, because you don't want to necessarily walk up and then remove the AirPod right when you're about to lean in. Take notes. So after an interaction with an employer, you have a pad and a pen, take a few notes, or maybe you grab their business card if there's room, maybe take a few notes. Maintain eye contact. Don't be too creepy about it, but that eye contact piece is particularly crucial, and smiling, right? You want to demonstrate that you're happy to be there, you're interested in what it is they have to say, because they do represent that company. So showing interest is particularly important. So during the event, be engaged and be memorable. Okay, so maybe you've done that. You've done your rounds. You've had some really great conversations. You've taken some notes. You're starting to gain some clarity in terms of which employers have really stood out for you that you want to, follow up with, send a thank you email to, connect with on LinkedIn, send an email. Don't leave yet. If there was an employer that really stood out to you, revisit them. Revisit those employers and let them know that them coming here has really piqued your interest, right? So go back up to them, thank them for piquing your interest and for attending the fair. Let them know what you enjoyed about the interaction, and then let them know if you plan to apply or whatever that plan might be, right? So if you plan on perhaps volunteering, or maybe exploring that line of work. You hadn't thought about that before, but it's kind of piqued your interest in terms of the type of work that that they specialize in. Whatever it might be, kind of finish off by revisiting those booths and letting them know that their time was very well spent coming to the fair, because you discovered a lot from that interaction. And then we have after the fair. So take action. You have your notes now. You might have an idea of some places that you want to volunteer at or to work at. Ideally within 24 hours of the event, right? Send them a message, remind them who you are, where you met, let them know that you plan on applying. And tell them which role and why. So you might not necessarily be ready right now, because a few of you on the call said that you wanted to network and connect. That's okay. I would still recommend that you let them know that you do plan on applying. This is now a company on your wish list or on your bucket list for when you do graduate or when you are ready to start applying. And you can even ask them questions like, we were able to chat a little bit at the fair, but if you can provide other insights, I'm currently finishing my BBA in human resources. What are other actions you recommend I take to increase my chances when I am ready to apply, right? So you can kind of engage them in that kind of a conversation. All right, so key takeaways. Number one, know what it is you want in the job. Why are you going to Career Day? What is your intention to go in going to Career Day? Research who will be there. QR code takes you to Career Connection with the employer list for Richmond and the employer list for Surrey. Have a look to see if they've posted the jobs that they're hiring for or the opportunities that they're recruiting volunteers for. Explore the idea and benefits of volunteerism. Prepare a simple intro pitch. Stand out, show them that you've done your research. Avoid asking those questions like, what do you guys do? What are you hiring for? Do you tend to hire accounting students or HR, whatever? Revisit them before you leave, and then don't wait too long to apply. But if you're not ready to apply yet, let them know please still send them a message saying, hey, that was really great. Not quite ready yet. This helped me, with my own career research, but I am definitely going to be looking to you in the future. After every hiring fair or employer-related event that we host at KPU, our ER team, employer relations team, they send out a survey to employers to find out how it all went and any feedback that they might have for us. And feedback that we did receive from employers more than once is that students were too shy to ask questions and engage. So again, how can we stand out as a job seeker? How can we stand out as a hiring fair attendee? Engage, ask questions, right? Go there with basic knowledge about the company, who they are, what they do, roles that they might be hiring for, but ask them questions. Remember, the HR is there to represent the company, and they're typically very proud to talk about the company, right? So please do not feel too shy to walk up to a table and engage. That's what they're there for. That's what they're there for. All right, so Career Day 2026 locations on Tuesday, March 10th is on the Richmond campus from 10 till 2, and in Surrey, the Spruce Atrium. I know that that's the Maple Building, but I couldn't find a nice picture of the Spruce Atrium. But you get the idea. You all know where you are on campus. I also wanted to let you know that we do have toolkits. So yesterday in the resume and cover letter webinar, I finished off with the resume and cover letter toolkit. So this QR code will take you to the resources in Career Connection, where there's a number of toolkits that are designed specifically with this topic in mind. And this pertains to networking. So we have a networking toolkit and this QR code. Okay, I lied. That's actually 4 QR codes that I included in today's presentation. I noticed that someone just kind of joined the meeting not too long ago. Don't worry about it if you joined late. This is recorded and it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel along with yesterday's webinar on resumes and cover letters. Okay, so prizes. So we do have prizes for every webinar. So if you stay until the end, your name will be recorded and you could potentially win a $20 Tim Hortons gift card. And that's for each webinar. And then for Career Day itself, we have three gift cards that you could win, 2 for Guildford and another one for Timmy's. So when you go to the fair, you will be given a stamp card. Please take that stamp card. That stamp card is what's going to help you. Well, it helps us, first of all, get an understanding for, on average, how many employers students engage with at the fair. But it will also allow you to get your name in the draw for one of the larger gift cards there. So when you go there, make sure you get a stamp card. For every employer you talk to, they'll give you a stamp. For every 5 stamps you get your name put into the draw. So you could get your name put into the draw multiple times in order to win a prize. And our prize draw will be done on Monday, March 30th, as I mentioned earlier. Here we also have the QR code for the survey. So if you can stick around a little bit longer, that would just be fantastic. It's not even 30 seconds to do this survey. And hopefully you found today helpful. But please do provide me with your feedback. I really do value it, as I value your time today. Here's a little bit of contact information as well as the YouTube channel to our webinars that we've recorded. I think for now, that might be it for me. If someone wants me to go back to a different slide, just let me know. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause there and look to see if anyone has any questions for me. And thank you all very much. I appreciate your time today. So remember, if you have any questions, just go ahead and put that in the chat. Oh, okay, here we go. I think I got one. Lots of typing in here. Okay, so Aisha, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So Aisha asks, for our pitch, how will we know what position to apply for on Career Day? Yeah, great question. So we always post the employers that are coming to the hiring fair. If you go on Career Connection and use that, if you look at that QR code that I posted earlier, I'm going to go back to that actually. Let me just go all the way back here. If you scan that QR code, you will see the list of employers that are going to the event. There we go. And so if you scan that, then you go to the organization's website and look under the careers section. You'll see what jobs they're hiring for. But you might also get an idea, even if there's no careers posted, you'll get an idea for what it is they typically hire for based on maybe the work that they do, or you can hop over to LinkedIn and search for the company and you can see people that currently or previously have worked for that company. And that'll give you an idea for which jobs they might be hiring for. So then you can customize your pitch, right? As you're approaching each table, each pitch, just like your resume, should be customized. Hopefully I answered that question for you, Aisha or Aisha. Okay. Okay, so Ashley wants to see the greeting. Okay, do you mean the pitch? I guess you mean the pitch, Ashley. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go forward. Those are the pieces. Those are the components. And here we have an example. I think that's what you meant there. Of course you could take a picture of that for sure. Okay, here we go, Angel. How will we change the pitch if we do not have work experience relevant to the job position? Oh no, that's okay. You do have experience. You know, your time at KPU, that's your experience. You're learning some really, really great stuff in there. And if you don't necessarily have work experience, chances are you're going to be focusing more on entry level positions. And so you just call on your time at KPU. If you want to develop more time, more experience rather, volunteerism is a really great way to do that. Taking those entry level positions like, working at in retail or customer service is a great way. But if it's entry level, then, it's, then focus more on what you're learning at KPU, right? Group projects, things like that. Would business casual be an appropriate attire? Absolutely, it would be. I think so. As long as, make sure that I think that's, probably a little bit more than what some students might even be wearing. I'd say please try to avoid the sweats. I know they're super comfy, trendy, but, try to avoid the sweats that day and wear something that, that you do feel good and confident in, but not overly comfortable. But yeah, business casual, I think absolutely is appropriate. Will there be different employers at each location? This is from Ian. Yes, we're going to have the Richmond Career Fair will be slightly smaller, but there will be the employers and organizations that are showing up to Richmond might not necessarily be in Surrey, and of course, vice versa. Some are coming to both. But you will see that we do have it listed by location. So you'll see the employers coming to Richmond and you'll see the employers going to Surrey. Okay, the QR code. So Kathy, you asked for the QR code. Hopefully you got that when I went back to that. Hopefully you saw that, the QR code. When's the next info session? If you mean webinar, Lizzie, we have our next and final webinar on Thursday, and that's for interview skills in preparation for Career Day and beyond. Okay, and then Ashley, the greeting is there. And Kathy, hopefully you got the when does CDC post these webinar videos on YouTube? Because I can't seem to find. Yeah, we haven't posted them yet. Ashman, thanks for asking. Yeah, we will get to that in the coming days. But yeah, it hasn't been posted yet. I'm hoping we can get around to posting that by Friday. And then Tatiani has posted also our list of employers. The QR code takes you to Career Connection, but you can also see the employers that are coming on our website as well. So Tatiani posted that on our website and on the Career Connection one. That's great. Okay, perfect. And I see Kathy is typing. And feel free, if someone has a question, you can also unmute yourself. And Kathy, I think you had asked about the QR code. So hopefully I've seen it. Thank you. Okay. Oh, the one right before this one. You bet. There you go. Right. Okay, it looks like that's it for questions today. I want to thank you all very much for giving us your lunch hour. It was very appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you all Thursday at the webinar, but also at Career Day. Please do come on up and say hi. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.